Hello and welcome to Hawk and Ken Survive, a new Movie Boozer special pubcast. And this series is the third episode of an ongoing sporadic series where Hawk Ripjaw and myself will be watching bad movies or trying bad things in general, and then reporting the results to you, our audience. This is our debut month in which we're covering on a weekly basis, which we will not be doing weekly going forward. We'll be doing it whenever we come up with a new topic, but 5 bad movies a week based around a central theme.
Yep.
And the central theme we have this time is the Buddies films. Now, tell me...
the spin-offs of the Air Bud movie series. And then he apparently fucked a whole bunch and had a shitload of kids. And now they go off and do shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans. Well, first of all, before we get into that really quick, what was your familiarity with these films or even the Air Bud films prior to this?
I saw the first Air Bud, and that's about it.
Same here. I actually saw it in theaters when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
My mom took me, and I saw Air Bud, and I probably haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, but I remember watching it multiple times, probably driving my dad completely insane in the process. I will say, though, I do have fond memories of the original Air Bud, if only because the actor Michael Jeter played the villain, who's like this creepy clown guy that keeps Bud chained in his backyard.
Yeah.
And what is his name in it? Like Happy Slappy the Clown, I believe. Which is just the creepiest name.
Yeah, it's either Happy Slappy or just Slappy. I can't remember, but...
No, it has to be Happy Slappy because it dawns on me, that's the first line. He's like, "It's Happy Slappy time!"
Which is really creepy in retrospect.
Yeah, oh shit. That's
I'm on the Wikipedia page. The villain's real name is Norm Snively.
Norm
or is it Snively? Also, Wikipedia indicates that he is also an alcoholic. So, hooray for adult themes in Disney movies back in the early days of the 90s.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the movie opens... The first Air Bud opens with him driving his creepy clown van that has if you remember the tooth from Django Unchained on the big, but it's like a clown head that does that.
Yeah, and then he takes the dog to a party and dresses him up as a clown, and then he looks all sad while the kids make fun of him. I remember that shit. I also remember the part where I can't remember why, but his car is out of control and he tries to twist the steering wheel and just pops off and rolls away, and then he just drives his car into a lake, and I think that was the last you see of him.
Yeah, I think that's the end of the movie. So
or no, he comes back, I think. There's like a court case over who should have custody of the dog.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And somehow Air Bud's ability to play basketball plays a role in this.
Yeah.
That movie is it's some classic low budget Disney dramedy garbage, but I have a special place in my heart for that original film because of to this day I recall Michael Jeter's performance as being creepy, and even looking up images as we've been talking here, he was a creepy ass clown, and yeah, Michael Jeter is one of my favorite character actors from his era. So I have to say, to an extent, some of that energy kind of did rub off on a few of these movies. Would you agree?
Yes, I would.
Now, these are not. First of all, I want to say, first and foremost, these are not good movies, and these are movies that are meant to be directly marketed to children, specifically children who while browsing either the store, we'll see the DVD of it, or while browsing through Netflix, we'll see the thing and see the puppies dressed in costumes and say, "Mom, I want to watch that."
Yeah.
And we chose very carefully which Buddies films to watch. We skipped over the first two, Air Buddies and Snow Buddies. We wanted to get into the meat of the garbage by picking later entries in the series. So we watched in order Space Buddies, Santa Buddies, Spooky Buddies, Treasure Buddies, and Super Buddies.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. Space Buddies.
Space Buddies was kind of like, every week when we do this, we kind of know what we're getting into, but we don't really know what we're getting into until we've watched the first movie of that theme week, right? So Space Buddies is, every one of these movies is, they have that theme, space, spooky, Santa, whatever, and all that it revolves around, this thing is happening at this time of year, and these cute puppies get involved in it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
With this one, probably the least plausible.
Yeah.
Second least plausible. Third least plausible. All these are kind of fantastic.
Yeah, no. These are all. There's no. Honestly, the most plausible of all of them is probably this one, because at least this one's like involving space, the space program, and you could argue that people have sent dogs into space before, so that's yeah. So the plot of Space Buddies focuses on the group of school children who all have their own puppy who is a descendant of Air Bud. These children are going on a school field trip to a company called Vision Enterprises, which is sort of this movie universe's version of SpaceX, where it's a private space corporation, and they're there to witness the test launch of the new experimental spacecraft, which is scheduled for a test flight, an unmanned test flight to the moon and back.
Yeah, and then the puppies somehow get on board, and then that's the movie. Yeah,
the puppies get on board, and then we don't want to do the movie too little justice. Some things happen. For instance, the space flight is the fuel line is compromised by this guy who is trying to steal the corporate secrets, and so they have to refuel in space. So they refuel at a Russian satellite that's apparently been floating out there for like a decade or so, and it's manned by Diedrich Bader, who is a crazy Russian.
Yes, and clearly having the time of his life, as he does in any movie.
He's going full Charles Manson with his beard, and his Russian accent, while certainly questionable in terms of accuracy, it does hit that certain Russian Guyovich accent that is both comically fun and cartoonish.
Yeah, there are real Russian accents, and then there are Hollywood Russian accents.
Yes, quite so.
Yeah, I work with a number of Russian people, actually, and none of their accents sound anything like what I've heard in an American movie before.
Yes, I like vodka and things that are Russian, because I am totally legitimate Russian accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is about the limit of my imitation abilities, which is probably only a step above what they do here.
Yeah. But I got Diedrich Bader was a lot of fun. I have to admit.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, that's the one thing these movies tend to do is they usually have at least one or two character actors that are there for to get a nice honest paycheck and to do their thing. And thankfully, the director of these movies, who by the way, it's the same a tour-like director behind all of them, Robert Vince.
Yes.
And you may know him from the other kids series, MVP, Most Valuable Primate, if you've heard of those movies.
I have.
Which you do if you have children. So, yes. So, needless to say, they go to the moon. There's fart jokes inside of spacesuits. There's the thing about the buddies, and all of these movies carry this along. There are 5 buddies, and each buddy has its own very specific character trait that is pretty much what defines them as puppies.
Yeah. So let's see. One is like a princess girly type.
Well, she is the girl archetype.
She is the girl.
Which of course, that's a character, right?
It is now.
Yeah, the girl.
Oh, it's Disney. That's right. This was before Disney became a little bit more, shall we say, culturally and gender sympathetic.
So yeah, to explain their characters, you have Buddha, who is the spiritual one, B-Dog, who is the white person imitating a black person. You have Mudbud, who likes rolling in shit, and you have the girl.
There's one more.
There's one more. Am I missing? Oh yeah, there's
you only listed 4, right?
Oh yeah, there's the sports one. Whatever
yes, the sports one who has this. He always wears a jersey and always has that fucking shit under his eyes.
Yeah,
the football players do.
What is his fucking name? How's Butterball?
Yeah, Butterball.
Yeah, Butterball, who's a sports guy and he eats things.
Yes.
Other animals featured in this movie is Spudnik, a bull terrier, voiced by Jason Earls, and then Amy Sedaris voices Gravity, a black-footed ferret.
Yeah. Oh, and the villain looks like Peter Dinklage had an impressive growth spurt, and he's accompanied by a clearly gay, effeminate, cowering Asian assistant.
Yeah, it's very
like true. You pointed out during a scene where they just clap and look at each other, and you said they're totally fucking. Like they totally are. Like that was Robert Vince strikes me as somebody who has the type of sense of humor where he wants to sneak as much as he can past the Disney censors.
Yeah, so
like that was. There's no way that was not intentional.
Definitely not. And the fact now, I swear I don't know what the casting department was like, but the guy who plays the main villain in this totally. You're very right in mentioning that he has that look like Peter Dinklage, but as a tall person, which is that's not a bad thing because Peter Dinklage is a great actor. This guy isn't quite on that level, but.
Or he looks like somebody tried to grow their own Peter Dinklage, and then they just like no, stop, it's getting too tall. Because he's just enough not like Peter Dinklage to look like him. Yeah,
I guess I shouldn't say tall because he's not tall. He's about like maybe average.
He's average like 5'8", a little less than 6 feet. But again, he looks like a grow your own Peter Dinklage kit that that was left a little bit too long.
A little overcooked.
Yes, but still a fun actor. Like his performance was fun. Like I want to point out right now that this week was by far the least toxic of the themes so far.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. I think the main thing is that these movies know what they are completely, and they have fun with it. In most cases, there's one notable exception we'll get to a little later, but. I would say of these 5 movies, if I was looking for a movie to show a kid, I would use as a possibility.
Yeah,
because they're
not to mention I wouldn't mind. I don't know anybody who would trust me with their children for babysitting, but if I did, I wouldn't hate myself if I had to watch these with the kids for a couple hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not to say that these are artistically great films. There's problems. The cinematography is television made for television at best. The storylines are paper thin.
I would also argue that you and I may be suffering from a possibly clinically significant form of Stockholm syndrome, in that we know that we have to watch these, so something in our brains is like, you know what, let's just go with it.
Yeah.
So maybe these movies fucking suck, and we don't know. We're just like, you know what, it's better than Alone in the Dark.
I will say I did see one of these movies before. I had a friend, one of my friends a few years back, had me watch Super Buddies because he was we were doing a random Netflix thing where we were picking out movies at random to watch and make fun of, and we just happened to run into this one. Huh. And I had the same level of feeling where it was not it was clearly not a great movie, but it certainly was not without things that were, at least to an extent, interesting.
Speaking of Netflix, I want to just put this out here right now.
Oh yeah,
throughout this whole week,
I'm laughing because I know what's coming.
Ken was firing these up on Netflix while I was completely oblivious to that fact and paying money to rent them on Amazon.
And I checked our conversation we had going on Facebook, and I totally told you at least once that these movies were all on Netflix.
This was way back in the planning phase, I think. And then, I think with renting the Medea movies on Amazon and renting the Uwe Boll movies on Amazon, I kind of just conditioned myself, like, oh, it's time to watch one of the bad movies with Ken, time to go on Amazon and rent it. Like, it didn't even occur to me that they were on Netflix or to even check. And, it's like, in the grander scheme of things, it ended up being about $15 because, pay $3 for a rental of the Buddies.
And you paid for the HD rental too, I bet.
No. It was standard definition.
Okay.
I did use the tip that you told me about having to go to the more purchase options button and then and renting it from there.
Yeah, save you a buck.
It does, and it adds up. But in the grander scheme of things, the money I spent throughout the week on these Buddies movies, I'm not upset about. It's more the principle of the fact that I could have been going to Netflix for these. And you know what's even worse is I almost made a joke. I was like, oh, was like ready to watch it. It's like, okay, let me just spend some more money really quick that I could be donating to somebody else. And had I said that, you would have stopped me and be like, wait a second, they're on Netflix. What are you doing?
It wasn't until the very last movie that I made a comment about them being on Netflix, and you typed like ... and I said just immediately after that, wait, were you paying for these?
And then I didn't respond for a couple minutes because I needed to just.
I imagine that you were in your closet banging your head on the wall or something.
Something like that. It was just like, oh man, it's just like, why? Like, I wish I would have checked.
So there isn't much else to tell about Space Buddies. We're going to move on to the next one. This one was the one we kind of wanted to get out of the way a little earlier because it's January and Christmas is already over. But Santa Buddies is actually,
which is a surprise, like you said, a surprisingly epic opening with like Santa, a very weary looking Santa, I should add. Something that is very noticeable throughout the entire movie. This Santa looks like he is in the midst of either a stroke or a very profound alcoholism withdrawal.
Yeah. George Wendt plays Santa Claus, and anyone who remembers George Wendt as the energetic comedian from the early 90s, late 80s, will see him here and think, wow, if I didn't know better, I'd think he was about to die.
Yeah. So it opens with him and Santa Paws, his dog.
Voiced by Tom Bosley.
Yes, in his last film role. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. And they're walking across the snowy landscape into a cave where this giant icicle is melting. And the icicle is melting because people don't believe in Santa Claus. And like I say, this is an epic opening, and you said it as well, because basically this prologue is, we're fucked.
If it continues to melt, Christmas will be lost forever. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not sure in retrospect how much sense that makes.
Well, I mean, Christmas would not be gone, but maybe the commercialism would be, because
maybe.
I mean, there's still plenty of Christians in this world, presumably, who celebrate Christmas.
Sure. I mean, now if the scene had like Jesus strapped to the floor, and when the ice cube melted, it would break and impale him, then yeah, maybe Christmas would be gone forever, but it's not.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, unless the world of Christmas, the world of the Buddies universe is the same as South Park, where in reality Jesus is remembered on Christmas because he died saving Santa's life.
yeah.
So anyway, the movie opens up with this pretty epic and reasonably budgeted depiction of the North Pole. I say reasonably because the set design is nice, but the CGI for the outdoors is not so nice, and the reindeer are ridiculous.
Less nice.
Bad. The reindeer CGI is just goddamn embarrassing.
Yes.
And by the way, one of those reindeers apparently, from what I'm reading here, voiced by Chris Coppola, one of the Coppola family. Yeah. For all that matters. Anyway, so what happens is in Santa Buddies, basically what happens is Christmas is in danger because the son of Santa Paws, which, yes, Santa Paws is Santa Claus's dog equivalent.
Yeah.
The son of Santa Paws is feeling neglected by everyone and wants Christmas to go away. So. Quite selfishly. So he escapes to Fernville, Fernburg.
I think it's Ferndale.
Fern Valley, Fern Gully. Fern. The movies, all of these take place in the same town in Fern something, Washington.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Fernfield. I just found it. Fernfield.
Okay.
we were way off base here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, Puppy Paws is the name of Santa's son.
Of course it is.
Because it's all dog puns here. Escapes the North Pole and goes to Fernfield, where he meets up with the buddies, and one by one, he encounters the buddies doing their buddy thing. So he encounters Butterball doing his sports thing. He encounters the names of these dogs. I don't think we actually said all of the. Yeah, so he encounters Butterball, the sports dog, B-Dog, who does his white person co-opting black culture thing, Buddha, who is being spiritual, Mudbud, who rolls in dirt, and Rosebud, who is, as we mentioned before, a girl.
I think Buddha is the most underplayed out of all of them. Like, he doesn't really meditate that often. He's just kind of the other dog.
In a couple of the later ones, that they extend that a little bit. There's always a scene of him going, Aum, or repeating a mantra of some kind.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Eddie, voiced by Richard Kind, and Santa's direct helper, what's his name? Eli, played by the little person actor Danny Woodburn, embark on a journey to try to locate.
They embark.
Embark.
Dog puns. Wow. Did they not think about that in these? Like, has anybody ever in these movies said, "We're about to embark on a mission"?
I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. So I'm not gonna.
I don't think it did.
Well, maybe, but anyway. And meanwhile, the dog Puppy Paws is being hunted because he doesn't have an owner by the evil Stan Krug, played by Christopher Lloyd, who is the sort of Scrooge of this movie. And over the course of the movie, he learns to give away puppies that he catches to poor families who probably couldn't afford another mouth to feed in the house, and the dogs will probably be winding up on the streets again. So I guess
Wikipedia explains why he's so bitter, but I didn't catch them ever explaining it in the movie.
What does it say?
That he is so bitter because he wanted a dog for Christmas, but his mom was allergic, so he couldn't have one. So now he's sad.
And he catches dogs.
Man. Like, there's something else there that makes you that fucked up. Like you can't have a dog when you're a kid. Well, I'm going to catch all of them.
And one of the dogs whom he has in his evil clutches is Tiny, a Yorkshire Terrier voiced by the tiny child voice of Caitlin Maher. Now, if you're not familiar with Caitlin Maher, she was a minor celebrity in the early 2000s for her appearance on America's Got Talent, singing the song Somewhere Out There. It actually became kind of a hit because at the time she was like 4 years old.
Yeah. And
so she voices Tiny the dog in this case. And Tiny is the definition of so cute. It's not even funny.
Tiny is intoxicatingly adorable.
To the point where it's almost so cute that it does a complete 180 into disgusting.
Like, it's so cute that I have cavities.
It's so cute that it gives you cavities, and it kind of makes you want to hurt something.
like, what am I feeling inside of me?
Reach into the TV and like snap Tiny's neck because the cuteness overload is so it's so much. It's if you remember Ren and Stimpy and the Happy Joy song, at one point Ren is so overcome with joy that he knows that he must destroy this thing that's making him joyful.
Yeah,
and he takes a hammer to it. It's that kind of
that kind of cute. It's just too much.
The movie, her character appears in the movie on the streets as a homeless, disheveled puppy, and she's standing outside a restaurant, and a moldy, disgusting steak falls to the ground. The dog looks at it, and Tiny, with her cute little voice, says, "God, we thank you for your gifts," or something like that. Just literally says a prayer before eating this gross-looking steak, and you're like, "Oh, Tiny."
Like, it's one thing. It gets worse though, because there's one thing that Tiny is like this cute little dog. It's another thing that later in the movie, this 9-year-old Caitlin Maher sings a song about Christmas.
Songs.
Like a couple of songs, yeah. Like now Tiny is singing, and again, Caitlin Maher around the time of this movie being made was probably like 9. She's 13 now. She's probably around 9 or 10 when she filmed this. So
Santa Buddies came out in 2009, and she made her debut on America's Got Talent at 4 in like 2005. So yeah, 9's about right.
No, she's 13 now, so she would have been 5 or 6 when she did this.
Wait, so I thought it said 2004. You know what? I don't even fucking. Why am I focusing?
Yeah, she was born in 2004.
Oh Jesus, that's where I got 2004. I was like, why am I concentrating so much on America's Got Talent? I don't watch any of those shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I just remember my mom going, "You have to see this video," and it's of this little kid, and I immediately lost interest.
You know when your mom says you have to see this video, it's going to be
either something you've seen a million times before, or it's going to be something incredibly overly cute, or worse yet, it's going to be some sort of like news item that was disproven a long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah, Snopes.com is a thing.
Oh man, I use Snopes all the time to discredit my friends. Like, oh, look at this thing that Hillary Clinton did, and I'm like, well, not exactly.
Yeah. The big one is every couple of months you run into someone who will say, "Didn't you hear Mr. Rogers was in the Vietnam War and was a sniper with like 40 confirmed kills?
And he only wears sweaters because he's got all these fucking tats about his kills on his arms."
And then you pull up, you show them the Snopes entry, and then you show a few sources, and you realize that Mr. Rogers, during the time of the Vietnam War, was doing television shows. So
I've argued with so many people over like Obama's executive action to give himself a third term in office. And no, that's not. That original story came from a parody site. They're like, no, dude, it's true. He signed a law. It's on there. I was like, no, it's from a fucking parody site.
And also, an executive action cannot override the fucking Constitution. So
yeah, so whatever. Anyway, Santa buddies. There's a part where the reindeer cannot fly, and so the puppies fly instead. There's also a part where the elves, you recommended I get high for this scene, and then I ended up not doing it, and I'm glad I didn't because the rest of the movie was not as trippy.
Mind you, my recommendation comes with zero knowledge of what that even entails, because I've never experienced it. You were the one who asked me, should I? And I just, when you asked that question, my response is, yeah, why not? Because I wanted to see how it impacts your opinion on the movie.
Well, no, I said should I for Super Buddies. He said that, but for Santa Buddies, he said if you're not high right now, you should definitely do it. The reason being is the elves are singing a song about like building toys and shit, and they're like, oh my god, we got to move faster and work harder. And during the song, it like the camera just ramps up in speed along with the music, so it's like while they're doing it, and it was like really, this whole Santa's workshop scene was really trippy, and I was not high for that.
Yep. So Santa Buddies, I would say as far as like Christmassy direct-to-video movies, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah.
In fact, this Christmas, if my mom starts going through Netflix and trying to choose another Lifetime original, I think I might try to push her towards this rather than those ones with the obviously overwrought message movies.
Yeah, like this Christmas, my family wanted to watch The Family Stone, which is a movie that's just it ticks off all the boxes of just terrible, depressing, family, dysfunctional Christmas holiday things. Like the mom has cancer and the dad is sad about it, and then this guy has a fiance who's mean, and then his brother likes the fiance while the guy likes the brother's fiance, and then they do things and they all get together at the end, and then the mom dies, and then one of the guys is gay and also deaf, and everybody learns sign language for him because they're a good family. And then I don't know, it literally, like, you should watch it sometime because it is a paint by numbers, sordid, dysfunctional family holiday comedy drama.
Wow. Well, I mean, and at least that one got a theatrical release. I'm talking more about like movies you get on Netflix just typing in the word Christmas.
I would much prefer watching Santa Buddies again to any sort of dysfunctional family comedy.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking here and there's like Christmas Miracle at Sage Creek, The Heart of Christmas, A Christmas Star.
I guarantee you that in
A Christmas
in 9 months, Almost Christmas will be on Netflix, if not less time. And that is, don't watch it.
Okay. I will take your advice in advance. So, moving on from Santa Buddies, we have Spooky Buddies.
Spooky Buddies.
Spooky Wookie Buddies.
Which, you know what? I'm going to come right out and say it. This movie was entertaining.
Yeah, this was actually, like, of the 5 movies we saw, this is the one that I would actually legit watch again.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but it totally owned that.
It owned it, and it had some very game performances from actors who were willing to go there. And so the plot of Spooky Buddies, basically, it opens up with this flashback sequence set in the 1930s, where the town members of Fernfield encounter Warwick the Warlock, played by Harlan Williams. And Warwick is trying to sacrifice 5 puppies to bring to life the Halloween Hound. Now that's
Halloween.
Yeah, not Halloween.
Halloween.
An evil hound who apparently is able to open a portal to like the ghost dimension or something.
Did they ever explain why he wanted to do this?
I guess because he's evil.
Okay.
And he makes a deal at the beginning with the Hound for them to do it together, something like that. He's Warwick the Warlock. He's a warlock. And by the way, according to Wikipedia,
surfs on his staff.
Yes, he flies around where some witches will sit on their broom. He surfs on his staff. And by the way, Warwick the Warlock is credited in the movie as Warwick Davis.
And I posted it. I gave you a really great GIF when you told me that. It's like Warwick Davis. It was just kind of like the GIF I gave you was just this guy with just a blank look on his face.
So
Warwick Davis, like this. Robert Vince has to know what he's doing.
Yeah, in this case in particular. So, needless to say, the people of Fernfield prevent him from opening the portal in the 30s, and it flash forwards to current, and one of the puppies is left stranded in Warwick's house while Warwick has been banished into this mirror, and the puppy is now a ghost, and the creepiest looking, just like that. I don't know. Maybe the animation department was like outsourced to Korea, and they didn't understand that it was supposed to be the ghost of a puppy and not the ghost of a half puppy, half child. Because it is just the creepiest CG that you've ever seen, and it's low budget too. Do you remember the Casper movie? In the Casper movie, that CG was frightening, and this is at least on that level of embarrassment.
It was just weird. Like they kind of started to animate the character, and then just decided he was like, you know what? We don't have the money and the budget to animate the rest of this ghost dog's bodies. Let's just stop halfway down.
Yeah. So the puppies this time, the buddies, wind up in the mansion, and they meet the ghost. They think the ghost is the Halloween Hound, and so they run away from it. So the ghost has to like convince them that he's not. And I
want to just like take a brief detour here and explain that a lot of really horrifying things happen in this movie.
All right.
Puppies get turned to stone. A dog eats eyeballs.
Yeah, what appears to be human eyeballs.
Yeah, like it's kind of goofy. Like I know that a lot of these things are just things that kids would have no problem with, but sometimes I just like to watch the things that these movies do and be like, wow, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and the kids and the buddies encounter this gravedigger named Joseph Johnston, who was alive at the time in the 30s, and he's played by Rance Howard, who is Ron Howard's father, actually.
I thought you were going to say son. I was like, how the fuck old is Ron Howard?
No, he's Ron Howard's father, and
okay.
And Clint Howard's father as well, and it's painfully obvious too. If you look, they look creepily like each other.
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm like, what? They kind of. I definitely see that now that you're saying it.
But in their attempts to find the Halloween Hound or not to find to avoid him, this is all happening on Halloween night, of course, and you encounter some wonderfully humorous townfolk, including Frankendude.
That was an awesome costume. This costume is Frankenstein, but as a surfer with a Hawaiian shirt and a surfboard that says R.I.P.
Yeah, with a big bite taken out of it that's bleeding for some reason. And yeah, he's Frankendude. And it's something about it, just the costume design is just the right level of corniness and humor that it... especially when his character becomes a little bit zombified later on because of a spell from Warwick. and he becomes sort of a henchman. It makes for some great comedic moments.
Yeah, it does. Not to mention one that we both thought was pretty quality, where Frankendude gives Warwick a candy bar, and Warwick just bites into the damn thing without unwrapping it.
Yeah.
So this is what food tastes like in these times.
Except he says it like, well, this is what food tastes like, he said.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a good. There's some good visual comedy in this movie.
Oh, and by the way, Diedrich Bader is back as the voice of the Halloween Hound,
who actually is a pretty good vocal performance with some kind of menacing sounding lines.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with Bader doing a villain role or an animated villain role in the future based on his performance here, because he can really kind of change his voice to sound kind of creepy.
Yeah. I also should mention that another recurring character in these Buddies movies is the local town sheriff, Sheriff Dan, who has a sheriff puppy named Deputy Sniffer, voiced by Tim Conway,
who also gets turned to stone.
Yes, but Sheriff Dan, played by the actor Michael Teagan, appears in nearly all of these Buddies movies, and he is, I would call it a very accomplished physical comedian.
Yeah,
he hits those slapstick notes very well, particularly in later entries where he has a little bit more of a role to play, like this one. There's a sequence, for instance, where he's on stage performing the Monster Mash at this Halloween concert, and he's playing bass for it. And it is painfully obviously he's not playing the instrument, but he's miming it in a very overly exaggerated, humorous way that makes it that makes the scene very funny.
Yeah.
And apparently, the Monster Mash is literally the only song that this band knows how to play, because there's an extended 10-minute party sequence they keep coming back to, and they're just playing an extended jam version of the song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when they're all zombified, you get a cut to the party where it's like probably hours later, and they're still playing the same damn song.
Yeah, but it's an extended jam, so they're done singing lyrics. They're just extending the melody, and this movie was a lot of fun to watch, I will say.
It was, and it ends with Warwick wants his spell book, but they give him a Bible instead, and he starts reading "Our Father who art in heaven." Wait a second. It's like, he's reading the Lord's. He's flipped to the page that has the Lord's Prayer, and then Butterball farts so hard that the Halloween Hound gets his soul sucked out of his body and turned to stone. He rips it right in his face. And
mind you, this is a series where fart jokes are doled out quite a bit, and they're not usually they're usually pretty base, meant for children. That was an earned scene, I have to say.
That was good. It's in contrast to the one in Space Buddies where he farts and it inflates his suit, and he's like, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. That's not that bad.
Especially since that was ripped off of that was a joke that was already done in the movie Rocket Man.
Yeah.
By the way, with Harlan Williams, who happens to be in Spooky Buddies. So.
But in this movie, Butterball farts so hard that it sucks the Halloween Hound's soul out of his fucking body and turns him into goddamn stone.
Yeah, I have to say that was an impressive fart. I mean, sometimes I've ripped a fart so powerful that it felt like razor blades shooting out of my ass. But I can't say that I've ever, managed to take the soul out of the body of someone nearby.
Yeah. Well, hashtag life goals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, Spooky Buddies is surprisingly entertaining in how much it owns its stupidity.
Absolutely. I would recommend this to anyone with kids looking for a Halloween-themed movie. And even if you don't have kids and you're looking for something fun to watch with your friends and make fun of.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is probably the weakest entry in this series that we've seen. Treasure Buddies.
Yeah, it's sad that this is the weakest because when I first heard Treasure Buddies, my mind told me pirate movie, and then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's an Indiana Jones movie, which is like, you know what, that could be really fun, but it's not.
The problem I think is inherent in the storytelling method. In an attempt to give the film a little bit of a unique twist, the entire film story is narrated by a annoying monkey named Babby.
Not just annoying, but like super racist. Like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, Babby like to have the thing, and it's like wow, okay, so you're using the broken English, savage Middle Eastern stereotype as a framing device for the narration of this movie.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good decision. This movie is, first of all, this movie came out in 2012. It's inexcusable how culturally insensitive this movie is. And oh boy, there are a lot of moments of awkwardness involving, because a great deal of this film takes place in Egypt, which is, I say Egypt with air quotes, because it's clearly a bunch of sets that are dressed up on a Hollywood backlot.
It is devastatingly obvious that these little storefronts and whatnot are part of a soundstage. Like, there's not even sand on the ground. It is a flat surface painted light brown.
Yeah, and the scenes there in the desert, it's like they're in a room with a green screen backdrop.
Yeah, and some sand.
Yeah. Oh,
it's so, not good.
So the plot of this movie is the buddies get involved in a mystery involving a centuries-old mystery involving, what's her name, Cleopatra, the cat of Cleopatra.
Yes. Which is, I mean, like, I can deal with Halloween Hound. That's kind of funny.
Cleopatra is just one step too far.
Cleopatra is just stupid. Like, don't do it. Like, just stop.
yeah, I can imagine the screenwriter there just thinking, Cleopatra. Oh yeah, we gotta go with that.
It's like, yeah, like high five. They're like, they just do a high five around the writers' table. It's like, man, we're fucking clever, man.
And the movie stars Richard Reel as Thomas Howard, who's sort of this movie's aged Indiana Jones ripoff. Which, by the way, strange casting for that, because he's, he's a bit stocky and he's, not exactly what you would imagine when you think adventurer, but that's fine.
But like, Richard Reel is the modern day Indiana Jones retired, washed up explorer. Like, in the flashback, it was somebody else.
Well, I mean, I guess in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, the 90-year-old guy they cast to play the old Indy was, by the way, a terrible actor. If you've ever seen those segments, holy shit. That's...
And I'm a huge fan of Richard Reel. I like him. Like, I think whenever I see him on screen, I get this kind of warmth in me. Like, he is an actor who I could imagine just being this really cool, nice guy.
Yeah.
And almost all of his characters have that same kind of just inherent kindness and warmth. And I just like watching him. He seems like a guy that I would like to hang out with.
So he and one of the children of the dogs go to Egypt, and the buddies follow them, and they go to Egypt at the behest of Philip Wellington, a British explorer who secretly is hiding the fact that he's the bad guy, and he's played by Edward Herrmann from the History Channel.
And the fact that Edward Herrmann is playing a character in a Disney movie is, like, after seconds of meeting him, is indicative of his role as the villain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's sort of like back in the day, how well, I don't know. All the villains had British accents, things like that. His character shows up, British accent. which of course he's not British, but I guess they chose to do that for a reason. So, a few things about this movie. Caitlin Maurer is back.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it's the soul of Tiny. Apparently sometime during Spooky Buddies, I'm guessing, off camera, I imagine, the Halloween Hound took Tiny's soul away, and then her soul was somehow magically transported to Egypt and implanted in Cammy, a baby camel.
Yeah.
I have nothing more to say about that. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a camel.
The only thing that could make that camel more frightening than having a little child's voice would be if it had a clown's voice that just wouldn't stop screaming.
I want to, if they keep making these movies, I want them to keep casting Caitlin Maurer as a new character, as kind of some internal film mythology where it's just this cute soul that just keeps getting reincarnated into a different animal.
Except the thing is, now that she's 13, her voice is going to start changing pretty quick. So the inherent cuteness is going away. What they'd probably be better off doing is finding another 4-year-old from some sort of a Star Searchy kind of contest.
Yeah.
But either way, honestly, I don't have that much more to tell. It has some like Legends of the Hidden Temple style puzzle chambers.
Yeah, there are some standard issue kind of like Tomb Indiana Jones things, like you got to step on the right parts of the floor, or you got to walk across the quicksand in a certain way, or stuff like that. And then you get to this part in the movie where there are a series of cat statues in a room, and they're activated by this ancient necklace into this holy fucking shit, I am frightened CGI cat statues that all get by turns murdered by the traps in the tomb.
Yeah. And the CG, you're not wrong in that it's worryingly.
Not to mention, B-Dog wears the necklace for a while and it slowly is getting transformed into a cat as he does so. So his eyes are like glowing green cat eyes, and that was deeply unsettling.
Very much. And the downside is with all those puzzles is like jumping on the right idols or how to navigate across this pit, is we didn't have Sean Connery throwing hints like only the penitent man will pass. Penitent.
Yeah.
Penitent.
So yeah, Treasure Buddies was probably one of the most boring out of all of them, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of the it's slightly longer than the others too, a little bit over 90 minutes.
Yeah. It was also just boring. Like it was just boring. Like it didn't really pick up until the third act.
There's a lot of shots of them in the desert just talking about things.
I did laugh at the part where the Richard, how do you say his last name? Richard Reel's grandson is coming up on the tent of Edward Herrmann's character while he's getting like a creepy bad guy massage from his henchman. Mm-hmm. And talking, and he's just plotting like, oh, they'll never suspect me if I do this. And he hears them. It's like, because like you said, every villain talks at the top of their voice inside a tent alongside everybody else that's not supposed to know about their evil plan.
Yeah, giving away the exact scheme, They would never guess that I'm going to be slitting their throats in their sleep tonight, or something like that.
Exactly. That was funny. But overall, Treasure Buddies is a very fun idea that I feel like they just didn't really know how to execute.
Very much.
But this was the movie that really made me think like where I was really impressed by the training of the puppies, actors themselves. In the room with the quicksand, the puppies figure out that to not get sucked down by the quicksand, they have to roll across it. So one of the puppies rolls across it, like just rolls over and over across the quicksand. Like, you know what? I'm kind of impressed with that. And then of course the room with the panels where you had to only step on certain panels to not get dropped down into the pit of snakes. Like having them hop across only certain parts of the floor, I have to be impressed by the training of the puppies for that scene.
Now, with that said, I'm curious which because there's a great deal of dog replacement CGI in these movies from time to time, and it's painfully obvious when it happens. I'm almost wondering because we did watch this movie pretty late at night if maybe we missed something there. Because there's a scene in Santa Buddies where the dogs are supposed to be doing like where B Dog is teaching the puppy Santa puppy paws to dance, and the CG dancing is kind of horrifying and obviously fake. And it's like the dog changes into a completely different species.
I'm guessing that they probably had some kind of laser pointer or something for the dog because it didn't look like CGI in that scene where they were hopping across the tiles. So they probably had something for the dog to chase after or something. But again, I really was kind of like, you know what, the way they've trained these puppies and making them do these things, I kind of have to give them props for that.
I guess I'll give you at least that. So the next film and the final film we watched in our Buddies week, Super Buddies.
Yeah, you convinced me to not marathon, but actually just end the night, end the week, and end the pain with the final Buddies movies. And I said, should I get high for this? And then that's when you recommended that I should, and
Since
I
this
did.
is the one that I have totally seen before, and I knew there's enough in this movie that someone in a completely different state of mind might appreciate. And would you say so?
Yeah, kind of. Like, so here's the thing: is that how much do you know about marijuana?
I mean, other than what I've learned in school and the basic effects, and I've never no personal experience at all.
So there's two different strains of marijuana. There's main strains. There's sativa, which gives you kind of more of a head high, and there's indica, which can be shorthanded into in the couch. Which is a body high, and so named because you sink into the couch when you smoke it. I took an indica strain that night when I did it, and so I felt really relaxed and kind of buzzed, I guess, in a way that like I didn't really feel like I was entirely where I was.
All right.
Which is better than a sativa, because if I was on a sativa, I would just be spouting nonsense. Because that strain is famous for just like everybody reacts to it differently. Like it might just throw you for a total loop. Like when I took a sativa a few months ago, I literally thought I was in somebody else's house. So I took an indica, and it kind of altered me in a way that while I was watching Super Buddies, I was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on right now?
You certainly were having problems following the plot.
I really was. Does it make much sense? Like, was I just really high, or does it honestly just not make sense?
No, I mean, it's the basic threadbare plot you can follow. So the plot of Super Buddies, you have all five of the buddies return, and it opens up. It's the birthday party for one of the buddies' owners, one of the children, and they're at the kid's grandpa's house, and the grandpa, Marvin, played by John Ratzenberger, is throwing for the kid a superhero party because the kid's really into superheroes. Something that, by the way, has not been referenced in any of the previous films because these films aren't much for continuity. So, needless to say, they have a super party, and Grandpa puts on a costume and masquerades as Grandpa Man. And the kids all have their costumes, and then the buddies have their costumes too. Meanwhile, one of the kids' favorite comics, which is called Captain Canine, and it's a story of this alien and this dog, this alien dog, and this kid who team up as superheroes, basically. And turns out that they're real. there's an actual Captain Canine, and there's an actual whatever the kid is called, um, something. Yeah,
I don't remember.
Anyway, so needless to say, the evil bad guy, and this is an alien named Commander Drex. And the alien special effects, by the way, are accomplished by filming a guy in a costume and then CGI replacing the head with a computer-generated head. And so the combination of the human movement on the bottom and the CGI on the top is like
really unsettling.
Yeah, it's all business on the top, party in the bottom.
Or vice versa?
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it's
and the buddies get like these rings of power, and it all gives them different abilities.
Yes, let's go. Let's get into their powers. You have, you have Buddha. The Buddha kind of gets psychic abilities, like the ability to move stuff with his mind.
Yeah, like telekinesis, and Butterball gets like superhuman strength. Rosebud is basically the Flash.
Yeah.
B-Dog is basically Mr. Fantastic.
And Mudbutt gets invisibility. I say,
which I feel like he didn't use that much.
They use him like twice.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly they call it invisibility, but in one scene they use it not just to disappear, but also like something's falling on them, and so they use it to like discorporate or something, because they somehow managed to escape the falling object. So, because if they were just invisible, they would still be crushed, wouldn't they?
Yes.
So this is the movie where the actor who plays Sheriff Dan gets his most things to do, because the bad guy alien possesses him, and he proceeds to ham it up through the entire movie, because possessing a character is a way better way of saving your special effects budget.
And I thought that was really fun. Like, Michael Teagan really got his time to shine, and like you said, he hams it up, and it was a really, really fun 20 minutes for him.
By the way, the voice of Captain Canine and I guess it's Megasis, whatever that is. Captain Megasis is the name of the kid. Apparently voiced, according to this, by Colin Hanks.
Wow.
I totally missed that.
Yeah, so did I.
And and then of course Tim Conway returns as Deputy Sniffer again. There's a horse voiced by Amy Sedaris. So a lot of character actors made some paycheck here. Oh, John Michael Higgins is the evil Commander Drex.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so John Michael Higgins, if you're not familiar with him, he's in a lot of stuff. Like, let's see, what was he in? God damn it! He does a lot
He was in the Pitch Perfect movies. He was in Yes Man. He was in Best in Show.
That's right. He shows up in a couple of those, doesn't he? The Christopher Guest mockumentaries.
Yeah, and both of the Pitch Perfect movies, and one of the most fun characters.
Yeah, and he does a lot of voice cast stuff. I guess he has a role in Legend of Korra, so a lot of people like that show. Anyway, Super Buddies is one. I would rank it as one of the more fun entries, and it's. The story is basically just a series of comedic set pieces, but that's kind of what benefits it, because they are actually comedic set pieces. The problem, I think, with Treasure Buddies is it was focused a little too much on its own Indiana Jones kind of thing, where they didn't save room for comedy as much.
Yeah.
And whatever comedy there was seemed a little bit forced.
Some of it did, yeah. It's just... again, I'm speaking with having watched it in an altered state of mind. At one point where the sheriff is like shooting like energy out of his hands, I was like, I don't even know what's going on right now.
Yeah, well, that was the obvious throwback to Star Wars. Unlimited power!
Unlimited power!
So the Buddy series in general, probably of the 3 bad movie weeks we've had so far, this one was the most enjoyable?
Oh, by far.
Oh, so much enthusiasm in that yawn.
No, seriously, yeah. Like I didn't mean to yawn right when I said that, but like, absolutely, like the Medea movies. By the end of it, I was like, I don't want anything more to do with this. And then with the Uwe Boll films, I was like, did I seriously just spend fucking money on this bullshit?
And then in the Air Buddy series, you spent money on it, even though you didn't have to.
I did. Now, if I had, say it was Medea or Uwe Boll, if I had spent money and then found out later that they were on Netflix, I would be significantly more upset. But you know what? The Super Buddies, if we can get this kind of goofiness in future Buddies movies, and I helped facilitate that, I might not watch those movies, but I wouldn't hate myself having done so.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I still could have donated that money to something meaningful.
Yeah, well, I mean, ASPCA, something like that.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, join us next week for another Hawk and Ken Survive. This will be the final of our January weekly series. From there, we'll be updating whenever we come up with a new topic. But next week is going to be a less specific theme in that we're going to be focusing on, rather than a specific series of films or a specific director, we're going to be focusing on the later movies of famous action heroes. So
not just the later movies, the movies that action heroes made like sometime in the last 5 years that sucked.
Or, well, if not necessarily the last 5 years, just films they made later in their career after their relevance had ceased to exist.
I'm just saying that most movies that we've picked so far are ones that were very, very recent and probably went direct to video, if not entirely.
Mm-hmm. All of these, without a doubt, are direct to streaming or video. In one case, though, the movie was still made in the 90s. But by the time that was done, the action star's career had been pretty much irrelevant for like a decade before that.
Right.
So, either way, it'll be an interesting week.
Yes, it will.
All right. Well, we'll join us again next week. In the meantime, keep surviving.
Keep surviving.